Good day, everyone. Thank you for joining us here at Big Data Toronto. My name is Dion Maynes. I'm the Vice President of Canada for Talend. And today I'm being joined by our friends and customers from Plan International. Just a quick introduction to the speakers today. So of course, I'm Dion Maynes, as you can see, Vice President of Canada from Talend. And I'm happy to introduce Altaz Hemani, who's the VP of Information and Technology at Plan Canada, and also Ivan Barsby, who's the Director of Data Management and Business Solutions at Plan Canada. Next slide. Just a quick introduction from Talend for those who don't know us. Right now, Talend is a global company that offers data integration and data quality and governance across all platforms of enterprises, all sources, and all targets. We also do a lot of work around governance and data quality management. We work with partners such as Citibank, Bayer, L'Oreal, Toyota, and Domino's. In Canada, we have customers such as TD Bank, large energy corporations, large telcos, and customers that make a difference in the world like Plan International Canada. Our deep partnerships go broad, as I said, from a standpoint. If you can go back to the last slide, from AWS to Snowflake and Microsoft, we work with all targets and partners, and we're recognized on a global scale with all the big analysts like Gartner and Forrester, from the Magic Quadrant and for data integration to the Magic Quadrant for data quality, and also Forrester's Enterprise Data Fabric Wave. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce my friends from Plan International Canada, and they're going to walk you through their data journey. And at the end, we will be taking questions for the last 5 minutes. So please jot down your questions and we'll be happy to discuss them at the end. So I will turn it over to Plan.
Thank you, Dion, and thanks everyone for joining the call today. Before we get into our journey with Talend, I wanted to briefly talk about our organization and our path to getting here. So if we go to the next slide, Plan International is a globally federated organization with multiple fundraising and program delivery offices across the world. It's been operating for more than 80 years in 70 countries, and we've impacted over 165 million people. Now for Plan Canada specifically, on the next slide, we operate in a majority of countries supported by the global organization. We have over 300,000 active supporters and donors. And we've really grown significantly in the last decade, and now are one of Canada's largest charities and one of the largest ones addressing gender equality and poverty among girls. Our areas of focus include education, microfinancing, health, water and sanitation, emergencies and food security. And so, for example, the recent crisis in Lebanon, Plan Canada was on the ground providing support there. So we're a world-class organization, but there's work to be done to become a world-class digital organization. And if you look at the next slide, the reality is that customer expectations around digital are really set by for-profit brands like Amazon and Starbucks. They have deep pockets and they can personalize and tailor customer experiences based on a vast amount of data that they have. And in our sector, there's really two types of organizations. Those that are born digital, who have formed in the last 5 to 10 years, and they've really woven technology into their operating model seamlessly. And then there's organizations like ours that are more established and are trying to combine legacy ways of working with modern tools. Now in our sector scan, we noticed that the established players have really started to make investments in digital. And so while we have an amazing purpose and our products are great and we have really enthusiastic donors, we can only sustain a non-digital operating model for so long before we start to lose ground. So we came up with a digital vision on the next slide, focused on creating great digital experiences for our donors and beneficiaries, finding ways to offer new and innovative products and services, making decisions with data at the core of it, and then operating with agility to improve our customer service and really streamline our processes, and most importantly, reduce costs. So how we get there? Well, there's 2 programs leading the way for us. The first is called the 360 View of the Constituents, and it's really an internally focused project on how we collect, integrate, define, and use data at Plan Canada, and really driving business processes efficiencies around them. The second is focused on the experiences our donors have when they're interacting with Plan Canada, and really trying to tailor their experiences with data from the first program. Now, to do this successfully, you need to figure out a way to manage and integrate that data in a strategic way. And so now what Ivan will walk through is our approach to doing that. Ivan, over to you.
Thanks, Altaz. If you could go to the next slide. Great. So really to help guide delivery of the vision that Altaz has outlined, really our next step was to think about and identify what were the right goals and objectives to enable the success of this work. I mean, the most important thing is we all know you want to start a project off in the right foot. So we knew that early alignment and agreement on these key cornerstones would put us on the right path. Our goals, as you can imagine, on a project like this, were very similar to what you would see in most of similar projects. Obviously we wanted to leverage the technology to enable faster, more cost-effective delivery, current business solutions, while in tandem introducing new innovative ways to utilize our constituent data. We wanted to make sure that we took time to evaluate solutions, not as system packages per se, as we've done in the past, but really to look at applications with a best-in-class lens. We wanted to reduce internal risk and dependence on a single vendor through the introduction of integration platform, thus providing us with increased purchasing flexibility. The last thing you want to do is buy something because you have to buy it. We wanted to buy it because it was the right thing to do at the right time. And at the end of the day, what we really wanted to do, obviously, was reduce overall IT operational costs and complexity. So when we look at those goals we established for ourselves, it was very clear to us right at the outset that our success hinged on ensuring we had the necessary glue to bind it all together. As a result of this realization, what we really wanted to do at the start of this journey was to focus on ensuring the selection of the right integration solution, one which was suited to our current and future needs. And so to make this vital determination, we took a very structured but well-traveled path. Step one, we really needed to understand what we had today. What were some of the challenges in our architecture, and where might we have the opportunity to improve on this with new solutions, new ideas? Then, using those findings, we were able to then look at it critically and to say, what are the must-haves in an integration solution? What must it be able to do for us? And then obviously there'll be nice-to-haves, but really wanted to focus on those must-haves. And then finally, we looked at and assessed and ranked a number of integration platforms that were available to us to identify which one best fit the vision that we were looking for. So based on that, let's go to the next slide and take a look at why did we go with Talend as our integration tool. Let's first start with the facts. The integration needs of our current interfaces were high. Over 90% of them requiring some form of data integration. It's a big problem, big challenge we needed to address. Number two, given our current CRM solution we use, it's designed with a file-based architecture. And we noticed and identified very quickly that through our analysis, the Talend solution really did provide us with the best option to meet our current needs. That said, we don't want to just focus on the current, we also wanted to look forward. And so we also liked the forward-looking options of APIs and API exposure through the IPAS tool. It really gave us the confidence that as we grow and continue to grow, that Talend as a solution will grow along with us and continue to meet our needs moving forward. And at the end of the day, on top of that, we noticed that Talend really did provide the best tooling solution to meet all of our data business problems, including data prep or hygiene, the data quality, always something critical and important in this kind of work, data governance to make sure we did the right things at the right time in the right way, and then ultimately supporting the support for big data and the parallel computing platforms. All of these options and tools within the Talend package really gave us what we needed and what we were looking forward moving forward. But at the end of the day, putting the facts aside for a second, one of the key aspects of our analysis process when we looked at all these tools was really to show it to our staff and have them evaluate it from their perspective. And at the end of the day, after showing them multiple solutions with our internal development team, it was very clear that Talend was a unanimous choice for ease of use, ramp up time, and developer flexibility. So when we put all that together, we look at the facts, we look at the feeling and the impact of the perspective of our staff, it really made sense that Talend was the right solution. It almost was a no-brainer at this point in time for us. Let's take a look at the next slide and take a look at the digital platform and how Talend plays a part in that. So don't worry, I'm not going to go over this slide in every single detail, but what I do want you to pull out of this slide and what is important for everyone to identify and notice is that the foundational role our integration platform plays in this journey. It's a journey that starts at the front end on the left side with the key outward facing channels that represent our website and some of the other channels available to our user community. And then it continues to the back end on the right hand to look at the data storage and management capabilities within our CRM and using that data for those types of analysis. And at the end of the day, you look at the bottom of this slide, it's really that integration platform of Talend which ensures that this all syncs together, providing the synergy to allow us to understand and optimize the entire platform and seamlessly extract the key elements necessary to provide critical data-driven insights. There are many complexities in this, and for an organization, like ours, our focus is on trying to address those complexities and do it in a way that's as easy as possible, but addresses the needs of our constituents in our community. From an external perspective, it's really about providing numerous channels to allow our stakeholders the choice of multiple personalized experiences. so they can immerse themselves in the journey and the work we do and continue their support for the work Plan Canada does out in the field. And we really wanted to make it to suit their needs, not simply suit our needs. Then, by gathering data from those experiences and how they choose to interact with us, we can in turn translate that information, take it up, build it up together, and look for new focused products and approaches to further enhance the overall experience. It really creates that cycle effect of understanding the needs, improving the way we deliver on those needs, and then continuing that cycle of further learning and further gathering information. And so all of this is enabled through our ability to combine the diverse data sources into a data warehouse where it can be sliced, diced, and analyzed. And at the end of the day, looking at this slide, the most important part is to recognize and to understand that the integration was key. It's really where we get to see the value of Talend as our integration solution, and where that value allows us to deliver on that vision that Altaz introduced a few slides ago. So let's see how we did. We introduced this last year. We've completed year one. Let's take a look on the next slide, how we did in year one. Well, to be honest, the results have been wonderful, and it's true on many levels. Certainly, we start at the foundational perspective. We've really been able to establish the key building blocks necessary to put us firmly on the road to success. By making the decision we did to begin with an integration strategy and the necessary high-level architecture, we've really been able to build and agree upon an organizational roadmap. And that agree upon is a very important aspect, because the last thing we want to do in these situations, these circumstances, is to find ourselves continually having to revisit the decisions we made earlier and say, does it align with our roadmap? We made those choices early on, and the integration platform is a key aspect, and Talend is being a key piece in that puzzle in terms of understanding what that roadmap will look like moving forward. So with Talend as part of that roadmap, our choices are vast. And really at the end of the day, we're only limited by ourselves and our own imaginations. And knowing the staff at Plan, our imaginations are quite wild. So we're really looking forward to turning this into a lot of new and exciting opportunities and new and exciting experiences, both on the front end and also on the back end. For us, the result of this decision was clear. Even early on with only a few initial solutions and products. So we've already had a few solutions already out in the field. Minor, it's only year one, and we continue to work on them, but already the results are great. Using Talend, we were able to quickly connect to and integrate CRM with Rallybound, which we're now using for one-time gift giving and the do-it-yourself fundraising. That's the kind of fundraising where you as an individual might decide, you know what, I want to raise some money and I want that money to go to Plan Canada. With Talend and Rallybound, we've now been able to make you or provide you with the platform to do that, and you can host whatever type of event you want. And that money will be raised through Rallybound and back through Talend into our CRM, and allows us to continue the great work we do. As part of a larger multi-system dashboard solution, so a little bit more complex and a little bit more involved, we were able to introduce new data-driven insights reporting to our marketing and philanthropy teams. For now, we'll extend that and expand that into future teams. These solutions will help them better understand and then harness our data to enhance our informed decision-making. Again, Talend again plays an important role here, enabling the integration of on-prem systems with Snowflake, our new cloud-based data warehouse solution. In this solution, we have successfully used Talend to integrate data in each of the zones within Snowflake in order to prepare that data for the ultimate end product, our new Power BI dashboards. We've only just started to roll out those dashboards, and already the impact is large and felt within our marketing and philanthropy teams. And we'll continue to use that relationship with Talend and Snowflake and Power BI to continue to improve on the information that's available. And the glue to all of this, as I talked about very early when I first started speaking, is really Talend. That ability to take and connect different systems in a diverse channels in diverse ways really provided us with the ability to continue and to improve on the work that we do. But our journey's not done. It's only year one. And so in these solutions, what we want to do is, while we look at these solutions and the success has been great, we also want to continue to look forward as what is to come. What have we learned, and what have we affirmed from our initial understanding? And again, I can't stress enough that our introduction of Talend Cloud API has really provided us with the platform to improve process efficiency, reduce manual workload through the introduction of automated approaches for cleansing and transferring our data to a variety of new solutions. It's really given us the option to focus on our attention on selecting the right solution for the right job and not simply settling for a package. So it goes back to those goals that I talked about at the beginning, and those ultimately was finding an opportunity or finding a solution that really allowed us to make the best decisions, the best purchasing decisions for us as an organization, while also allowing us to continue on this very exciting digital journey that we're now begun. So now that was the start. That's where we are today, but I'm going to pass it back to Altaz on the next slide to talk about what's coming up in the future. It's very exciting.
Thanks, Ivan. So what's next for Plan? Well, really, we're going to look to continue our journey and begin to personalize those donor experiences through automation, new technology, and data, which is a key enabler of personalization. We're also going to try to sort of enable that more data-driven culture through the democratization of data and expanding those dashboards and continuing to give our staff access to information that they haven't had before. Talent will obviously be a primary enabler of that. We're also going to look at expanding our use of talent to launch our formal data governance program throughout the organization. Now, the customer support team at Talend has been amazing to work with and have taken a really proactive approach with supporting us. And so we're really excited about the work ahead and further enabling our mission. And if you're interested in our mission or want to learn more about our organization, I highly recommend you go to plancanada.ca and check us out. Dion, over to you.
Thanks, Altaz. So now we're going to talk about how Talend makes it all possible. But before we start that, I just want to talk about the importance of what Plan does and how thankful we are to have Plan as a customer. A lot of the time we talk about technology and data at very high levels about what we can do and how we can make a difference. But ultimately, this is in our day-to-day, this is actually making a difference. Plan does great work and we couldn't be happier to have them present today and couldn't be more proud of the work that we're doing with them and the work that they have been doing before their relationship with Talend and every day going forward. They've been staunch advocates for those in need around the world, and it makes a difference, and it makes what we do even more important and gives us a real view of how we can make differences in all sorts of organizations, big and small. So in the next slide, we're going to talk about kind of how we make that difference, how Talend views the world, and how we talk about what we can do to customers. As you notice, we haven't been talking about speeds and feeds or about this one connector or this one component. We've really been talking about how we make a difference in a business. Achieving clarity, agility, and compliance is one. It's that ability to trust that data. Looking at data is one thing, but sharing data across an organization makes all the difference in the world. That's how you get people involved. That's how you get people engaged to do different things. And that trust gives you the ability to build big dreams out of small little bits of data and being able to provide value to all the different aspects, from a marketing organization at Plan Canada to the IT team that we've heard from today that are talking about how they pull all this together. We really want to be driving those key business outcomes. So making a difference to the business is the name of the game. That's what we're all in it for. It is not about the one little piece we do. It's about that one little component that we work on that goes on to work with a different team that builds that big dream that makes the difference to the end user, or in this case, the person in need. And then ultimately improving productivity and reducing costs. You saw that there's multiple tools that Plan Canada is using. And when Plan looks at those tools, they say, this is what works for us today. Ivan had touched on that a couple of times where it was the tool that met our needs today, but also that future vision where you're future-proofing the tool and your decisions that you make going forward with tools that you may be selecting later. There's always something new coming. They're cutting edge today. They wanted to use Snowflake. Snowflake was what they used because Talend has no problem working with our partners at Snowflake as well. And that, those changes and those evolutions of technology as they come, you don't want to be held up trying to figure out, is this something we're going to be able to move to? So in the next slide, we're going to talk about more about that kind of business outcome and who are driving these business outcomes. So on the right side of this slide, we're talking about transforming the customer experience, increasing operational efficiency, reducing risk and ensuring compliance, and innovating faster. Kind of the terms we talked about before, but who does that matter to? So as we build this slide out all the way through, you'll see that all of this data, all of that chaos that comes through, we give you the ability to first collect that data, and then next, we're going to, as we build this out, is going to look at the governing of that data. So the data quality, the data governance, and these are so many different people who look at this as you start to interact with this data. More and more questions. We always say one question leads to 10, those 10 questions lead to 100, because as people realize there's more more depth to that one question. It's more the answers that come, there's depth to those answers. They continue to ask questions. So if you want to keep building this slide out, we will, look at, as a citizen integrator, as a data steward, as a data scientist, as you start looking at this, you want to transform that data into meaningful, trusted nuggets of information that you can pass across your organization. And then the last build is really talking about that sharing, how you take all of this and pass it out to the different teams that may not be technically driven or may not be technically focused, but everybody is data focused. So that whole ability to trust that data and pass it from team to team without them having to learn a new language, a new coding language, or to try to decipher how the IT team is working on it, and vice versa. The IT team doesn't need to look at the business and say, do I understand exactly how this business works from this one specific standpoint or this one specific user? No, I can actually get them involved and help share this with them and make that an experience for them that's beneficial to both of us. So as we look at the next slide, let's talk about, you can just build the next slide right out, or I think it's just going to show. There you go. So the cloud migrations that you guys are working on now, every organization is looking at this. How do I move to a Snowflake? How do I move to an Azure? How do I move to an AWS? As you guys look at that, that's a big portion of the business that we're doing now, is helping customers understand what that cloud migration looks like. From data science, if you're looking at Databricks and you're saying, how do I integrate with Databricks? How do I make this work from my system before? This is going to be a huge project. How do I get there? We can help you get there because you're building that fortified data management layer. When you move to new tools and want to do new things, your data is coming with you in that same trusted format as before. And then that operational and data governance piece is going to be key the whole way through. That's what builds that trust. So being able to constantly look at it, constantly roll out new things, those are the things that matter. And so in the last slide we're going to look at, I'm just going to talk about a couple of customer stories that we have here. I'm going to leave them at the bottom. I'm not going to go through them in too much detail, but really it's all about transforming the customer experience for Accor. When we talk about hotels and any sort of customer facing business, this is the key, right? It's how we interact with customers, how they feel about their interactions with us, and not only how they feel about it, but how we get that information back from them about how they feel about it. Operational efficiency. Now with COVID, one of our biggest initiatives is trying to help more and more people getting involved in more and more projects that make a difference. AstraZeneca, with all of their clinical trials that they're going through, we want to make sure that we are giving them their data, and they rely on us to get them that data in a trusted, efficient way so that they can continue to move forward on trials. Reducing risk and ensuring compliance. I'm going to talk about TD Bank. Everybody is familiar with TD in Canada. They use us for that sort of data cataloging, data governance, and data quality, where they want to make sure that they can keep delivering those exceptional customer experiences, and really at the same point reducing their risk and making sure that as they go out with offerings and as they look at their business, that every step of the way that they're reducing risk for their business, but also for their customers, to ensure that they're giving them the best advice as they move forward. And then talking about plan, what we talked about, innovating faster, you saw what they did last year compared to what they're planning on doing this year. And year after year, the team, Ivan and Altaz, will continue to be able to step out of the norms that they're used to maybe in 2020, in 2021, and look at something new and say, hey, we want to try something different, and not have to worry about the complicated conversion of data or movement of data. They'll be able to rely on Talend to come to the table with a solution that matters for them. So that, in closing, we'll just wrap it up on the last slide with thank you again for Big Data, Toronto, for putting on this event. Always a great one we sponsor every year. Please take some time to visit the Talend virtual booth to find out more about Talend. And if you haven't before, please take some time to go to the Plan website. And any bit matters. Please make a donation to Plan. They are doing great work. As we learn more and more about their business, it's mind-blowing the amount of impact they have globally. So if you do have some time, please take some time to go and visit the Plan International website and make a donation to help some people today. Thank you very much for your time.